What's up, everybody? Welcome to Ask for Candy, where we talk about healing, self-care, love, sex, relationships, and what it takes to be amazing on the daily. Who I am is Candice Harper, lovecoach.com, honey. And my purpose with this podcast is to create healthy romantic relationships all around the world through self-love, soul connections, and sweetness. But before we get to all of that, we are here with our production partner, Solivity Magazine, and Brian, the editor-in-chief, is here with us, producing us, making it all happen. Hi, my Brian.
Hey, what's going on, Candy? I'm chomping at the bit for this.
Are you excited?
Yeah, because I want to break from all the madness from last night into.
I know. And that's what, you know what, I like for the show to be a little bit of a respite from all of the crazy ills of the world. And I think it's perfect timing to be talking about what we're talking about because it has absolutely nothing to do with that debate.
Ink.
Right?
Yes.
I feel like we're so constantly inundated with, the news and people's opinions about it and all the content about it. And it's like, it's almost my mission to be a force of light and good and peace and anything but. Anything but
I know,
politics
right?
and what's going on in the world. Yeah. And people can say that that's sort of like putting the head in the sand, but I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't think there's anything wrong with us giving ourselves a chance to just talk about and be about something different just because the world is so crazy right now, right?
Exactly. We don't have to argue about, you know, whether announcing white supremacy.
Is
Other, leave that over there for an hour. An
right?
hour.
Like we can only fight that fight so consistently for so long. Sometimes we got to take a break and talk about the fun stuff and the stuff that maybe doesn't seem like it's fun, but for me it's fun because it's people stuff, love stuff is fun.
Yeah. You got a
Yeah,
great topic.
we got a great topic tonight, and we're going to dive in a second. But for anybody who's new, who's never seen the show before or been with us before, we're live every Wednesday at 7 o'clock. You can watch us at solivity.com on Solivity TV, and you can subscribe to Solivity Magazine on YouTube so that you can be alerted whenever we go live. And you can subscribe to our audio broadcast, Ask for Candy on Anchor, iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and wherever you normally download your podcasts. And you can email me at askforcandypodcast@gmail.com to leave comments, ask questions, all that good stuff. Sometimes I deal with it later in a later broadcast, talk about what you're talking about, what you ask me about, what you tell me about. And if you are new and you haven't been here before for almost 9 years, I have been a relationship coach, a workshop facilitator, and now a professional matchmaker with Talkify dating service. And this is me living into my purpose of loving myself unconditionally and inspiring others to do the same, using their romantic lives as a portal, an inspiration, a catalyst to our highest possible self. And so matchmaking and relationship coaching are my zone of genius. And the best part about it is that week to week, I get to grow and learn as I interact with hundreds of people around the most intimate parts of their lives. I get to take people on a journey from caterpillar to butterfly, from unhappy with their love lives to ecstatic. I get to teach people how to get out of their own way and tap into love as a limitless resource. And most importantly, I get to be part of what supports healthy beginnings and sustainably healthy relationships. I get to be the cause of self-love, soul connections, and sweetness. So stick around for tonight's matchmaker moment, which we're doing later. I have a great new client, Brian, who's very
really?
exciting. I'm not going to say anything about her right now. I want people to stick around through the course of the show so I can tell all about her. She's a good one. She's a good egg.
Oh, fantastic.
Right? You might have, I haven't tapped into you as far as single friends are concerned. If you have any single friends, they need to sign up for some matchmaking
All
so that I
right.
can put them on
I
dates.
will hook that up for you. Actually,
Oh, good. Perfect. So yeah, that's what we're going to do if you stick around. Let's get down to tonight's topic. Lovestuck. Finding your flow. Lovestuck. I don't know what that song is. I was trying to think of a song that's like, is there a Lovestruck song? Is there like a?
No, was there a song that Lovestruck? Can't remember.
I don't know.
Wasn't that with Cher?
That's Moonstruck.
Moonstruck. Okay.
When the moon hits your eye like a big pizza pie, that's amore. And it was about love. It was about love. But yeah, I don't know if there's any Lovestuck songs. There's definitely, songs about being love struck. And so tonight, Lovestuck, finding your flow, all the questions to ask yourself to find out where you might be blocking your romantic desires. So you guys know I'm all about self-awareness and self-examination. And sometimes that for me leads to overthinking. So I don't want to invite you to overthink, but I'm all about like, how can we be getting in touch with our inner selves, our intuition, knowing ourselves, loving ourselves, knowing that we're enough. How do we be the antidote to this world that we live in that's constantly telling us that we need to be more, do more, have more, buy more, put more into our bodies, make ourselves better all the time? Like, how do we understand that we are enough, right? Yeah. So whether you are stuck in a dead relationship or in a singlehood holding pattern, or if you're struggling with sexual dysfunction or too conscious about your body to engage in intimate interaction. And that doesn't necessarily have to mean sex. Sometimes people are so body conscious that they're not even, they won't even hug or just interact in an intimate way with people, or in any kind of love life rut whatsoever. There's a lot of different ways that we fall into a love life rut. Even people who are dating all the time sometimes fall into a rut where it's just about the dating and never taking it any further, right? And people who are in relationships, I mean, obviously in relationships, that's one of the biggest things. Like, how do you not fall into a rut? We all get stuck around love in our different places in our journey. And it's a natural part of our human experience. There's nothing wrong with it. But this is about, what questions do I ask myself if I'm ready to get unstuck? If I'm ready to get things moving? What do you think about that, Brian? Do you have any experience with like feeling a stuckedness and what that was like or how you got out of it?
Yeah, I mean, have that relationship and you can
Yeah.
buy it. And the last relationship,
Mm,
I meet somebody new. Last relationship,
yeah. Like you're still responding to that person and yeah, like treating them like you through your trauma.
exactly. It's true.
Yeah, that's that baggage, right? That we walk around with. Yeah, and there's so many ways that we do get stuck, and that is one of the biggest ways is by like holding on to the past or still having the unhealed stuff that we haven't really dealt with. But also, it's just we get stuck in like believing that we should have a certain thing. And I've done a couple shows about having a certain list of standards that need to be met. That's a stuckedness when I won't come up off my insistence that somebody be perfect, or there's just so many possible ways that we can get stuck. I mean, one for me was being stuck feeling like I constantly had to be in a relationship, so it was like out of the frying pan into the fire, but then I would get right into the next frying pan.
Yeah, that's another one, right? Where you
Yeah,
judge yourself by, oh, well, I'm alone. So
yeah, so then I can't let myself ever be alone. And then when you're alone, you can get stuck in either, not dating, staying home all the time and, not allowing that part of your life. Or you can get stuck in, like I said, over dating where it's just about keeping it casual, or you can get stuck in, whatever. We get the point. We can get stuck. So tonight's show is all about self-exploration. So often we get caught in the misguided thinking that something external needs to change or be better in order for us to move forward. And that's often why we get stuck and stay stuck, because we're feeling like there's something outside of us that needs to change in order for us to be unstuck, in order for us to move forward. So, things like, when I lose that extra weight, when my partner starts behaving better, when I have enough money to, blah, 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 whatever it is, insert whatever your upgrade might be, when I have enough money to, fix my teeth or, get my bat wings sucked out or put my Botox in my forehead, whatever, whatever you're thinking is this, external thing that you need to do in order to get out of your stuck place. So oftentimes that's what we think, is that we have to focus on those things and make those things change in order to make to get out of a place of being stuck. But what we often miss is that waiting for something external to change, fighting for something or someone to change, or even willing it to change is exactly the reason why we get stuck. Right? Even though we almost never think that that's the reason. But it's that desire, that need for something or someone to be better that keeps us stuck, because it's those things that we can't, really control. Some of them we can externally, we can control some of them, but they're not what actually needs to change when we feel stuck. When we feel stuck, it's about how do I change the feeling of being stuck, which is an internal job. Right. And so, how many times have you ever held yourself back because you didn't get the encouragement from other people you wanted in order to move forward? It's, those are the ways that I'm waiting for somebody to support me in what I'm doing. And because they're not supporting me, I'm not going to do what it is that I could be doing. I'm not going to, be creative or expressive, or I'm not going to, do whatever it is I desire to do because I'm not getting the support I need. So that keeps me stuck, right? That thinking. How often have you ever given up on something because you allowed something else to stand in its way rather than maneuver around it? So anytime we're like, oh, like I was saying earlier, I got to do this in order to be better, in order to have this. So we're like putting the roadblocks in the way. So if I haven't gotten this thing done, then I'm not going to be able to do this next thing. I'm not going to be able to move forward. That's another way that we get stuck. We don't try to flow or maneuver around anything. And what do you believe is the reason you may be on pause with something in your love life right now? Is it lack of options? Somebody did you wrong? Your partner has checked out, etc. Like if you think about, if you are in a place of stuckedness in your love life right now, what do you consider to be the reason? Oftentimes I will, when I'm screening clients and candidates, I will ask them about their dream love life and, what is the ideal love life? What is it that they're looking for? What is it that they're trying to create, I should say? And the next question is always, what do you think has been the obstacle that's standing in the way? Right. And I can always tell, someone who's like, well, I haven't really been, pursuing my love life. I haven't been paying much attention. I put all my focus on the work. Like someone who's coming from a place of, this is what I've been doing. These are the choices I've been making. So that's why it's what it is. I can tell that they're ready to like take responsibility and make the changes. Right. As opposed to someone else who's like, well, there's just no good people out there. I try and I go out, but people don't know how to date in the city I live in. Insert your city. It's because the online apps don't work. It's because, a million reasons that have nothing to do with me. Or it's because, I gained weight and nobody likes, overweight people. It's these things that are like external things, external stories that I've made up for why I don't have what I want. It's all that kind of thinking that keeps us stuck. And for me, I used to believe that finding love and being happy meant meeting someone my parents would love, that also fit all of my standards, and would be the cure to all my insecurities.
Oh,
Right? I used to think that that's what finding love and being happy meant. Like that's what you're supposed to do. So it was a belief that I had, right? So every time that anybody was not fitting into that belief or was not that, then I was in a place of, oh, it's never going to happen, or I was disappointed. I was stuck in thinking that's the way it's supposed to be. And basically I was at a stalemate. So how could I generate love and be happy in my life while I was waiting for someone else to come along and heal my insecurities? It's impossible. No one can heal my insecurities but me. So this is what we're looking at tonight. Like, how do I get to a place where I get that, first of all, people can only love us to the level at which we can love ourselves, right? Right. So how do I get to a place where I not only move the stuff out of the way, but also can recognize that it's there? Because if I just walked up to a random person and said, do you feel like you're stuck? Some people can honestly say, oh yeah, I do. But a lot of people will say, oh no, everything's great. Well, what's going on with your love life? Well, I just broke up with somebody, or, I'm not really dating or anything like that. Well, what do you want? Well, what I want is to be in a happy relationship. So how long has it been what it is? Well, it's been a few years now, or it's been a couple of years now. And I'm not saying this like it's a negative thing, because I do it myself. It's part of our human condition, right? We say we want one thing, and then what our pattern normally is, based on what we believe and what we think, has us stuck in something else rather than what it is that we say we want. So, we refuse to generate and be the source of our own healing and restoration. It's like damming up an empty canal. So it's refusing to flow, but we don't always know it. We don't always know that that's what we're doing, that we're refusing to flow, that we're refusing to allow, that we're refusing to let ourselves have that thing that we say that we want. So how do we identify when we are love stuck and refusing to flow? So check your negative feelings. And by check them, I mean just, think about the beliefs and the things that you're telling yourself. So some of the themes that kind of resonate with people that I interview: I just don't meet the right people to fall in love with. I hear that all the time, Brian. And I think that points to like, what we've talked about before, where people, their standards are so high that like they might be meeting people, but they don't consider anybody to be the right person, right?
Oh, why is it song is like popping in my
What?
I found
Two-way street.
and I lost it. I went. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know what I mean? I mean, I,
It's true.
and that and then like you
Yeah.
said,
Yeah.
crazy,
Well, and for some people, it's like I meet, person after person, and some people are like the one-time dater, and they never let anybody get, across that initial, start line. And then for some people, it's like one short-term relationship after another.
right, right,
But it's that's the theme, right? So if I have that theme,
yeah,
then I got to know that's a stuckedness. There's something stuck there. Some people, it's my partner is too whatever, my partner is too disconnected, my partner is too whatever, my partner is too much of, or my partner is not enough of something,
okay.
right? That's a way that coupled people get stuck. Right, like making determinations about the partner, the person that they're with, that makes that person somehow not good enough.
Yeah, I can tell.
Yeah.
Um, Getting hurts.
Yeah.
And it does, and you don't want to get hurt again.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that if like you were talking about before, and um have somebody in your life, then you gotta open up. Have to.
Yeah.
Part of that
That's
is like
true.
this step check.
Yeah.
Check them
and
as
and and be
adults.
willing to identify them as such, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, because if we're busy like projecting onto our partner, and with our judgments and our criticisms, or the people that we're dating, like all that is, it's projection. It's we look at other people, and what we do is we cast what our perspective is, and who we are onto them, because we believe that people think like we think, and that their actions are things that, and that's why we're always comparing ourselves. Well, they did such and such, I would never do that, so then you must be wrong. Do you know
Right.
what I
Exactly.
mean?
Oh, how dare they?
Yeah, then
Oh,
something must be wrong with you. So, oh wait, Joe on my watch party says sometimes people's high standards leaves them by themselves and missing out on something good. That is absolutely true, Joe. And that's definitely another form of stuckedness. If another theme that you have is my parents didn't teach me right or love me enough. A lot of there's a lot of commonality in that theme of parents didn't love me enough. And I used to walk around with that too when I was younger. And I had to do some healing work around that, because there's this idea that parents are supposed to be, I don't know, some Norman Rockwell painting perfect. And, we know that parents are the source of, are all our initial, whether or not they're absentee parents or very present parents, they're the source of a lot of our conditioning and how we approach love relationships as we get to be adults, right? So, whatever extent they love us, it's like that determines a lot for how we navigate our adulthood. But who knows what this perfect amount is supposed to be, right?
exactly. Don't know.
Yeah. Like you ask anybody, and they can tell you things that their parents did or didn't do that were pivotal, that changed them, that altered the course of how they were going to be or how they thought they were going to be in some way. But it's one of those things where we get the parents that we get, and there is no standard of perfect. There is no, there's no way for any human being to know what it means to be a perfect mother, what it means to be a perfect father. So it's like when we walk around feeling like, oh, my parent didn't love me enough, so that's why I have all of these issues. Yeah, that's true. But at some point, you got to let go of that. There's an expectation that they were supposed to have known how much to love you.
Exactly. So there's profession like called psychotherapy.
Yes.
that you can go and you find out more about how to move through that. I mean, there are resources,
100%.
that, you know.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. But these are the kinds of indications. And yes, like I love that you said that. Therapy is definitely, especially when there's more than one of these sort of like negative things playing back or playing around in your head. That's definitely the part of a good part of a healing journey to take around having all of these negative thoughts. But just knowing that you can identify them and that you have them is part of like taking those first steps to getting unstuck, like realizing that these are just thoughts and beliefs that I have, or thoughts and beliefs that I'm walking around with, and I can do what I need to do to change them, whether that means getting therapy or joining a healing group or whatever. Like, it's just that willingness to be able to say, okay, I have some beliefs that don't work. And a lot of us hate to do that. We hate to admit that we have beliefs that don't work. Like
Yeah.
I was talking to a client the other day, and she was so insistent, and this happens, that get so insistent that it's the process that is the problem. It's, something outside of me that is the problem. And, our whole conversation was like, if you focused your bandwidth on what does work in the process, and if you focused your bandwidth on giving yourself the nurturing and the love and what does work as far as you are concerned, you won't have enough space for everything that you're focusing on that does not work. But it was hard for her to understand that because she's so steeped in this belief that the way to do this is to look for everything that's wrong and point it out.
That is so true. We have our people watch parties.
Yeah.
Javier saying, "We have to understand why our parents raised us the way they did, while identifying what you choose."
Yeah, I mean, I do think I think Javier's right, like in the sense that understanding the why does help in a big way. But for those people who, may never understand why, like people who, I have a close friend whose parents gave her up for adoption, right? And she never got the full story of whatever happened, with her birth parents. But that was a very, like, just knowing that was a very pivotal thing for her. It's something that she carries with her. And, what's there for us is the understanding that because if we can accept that parents aren't some standard of what we think parents are supposed to be, we can accept that we don't have to be some standard that someone else thinks that we're supposed to be. That way we can define ourselves, right? And just that understanding that you can be self-defining no matter where or who you come from. And it's great if you can understand where you come from and who you come from and your ancestry. That is fantastic. And it's definitely can be a big component of healing. But for some people, that's not an option, right? So the idea is, how do I get to a place where I can heal myself enough that I can also define myself and I can decide what my experience is going to be, regardless of what I saw growing up, regardless of what is my, conditioning or what I was told it was supposed to be like, right? I don't know. That's what
Yeah,
I
you
think.
do. I love it. I
Yeah,
better
I do.
listen.
So yeah, another one is love and relationships are too much work. So I hear this often, and I'm not saying this to say that a relationship is not work on some level, especially because we talk about this a lot, you and I, Brian. Especially when if you're approaching your relationship as the stone on which you're sharpened and a place for learning and a place for growth. That can be work. If you approach it as something that you don't want to have to change yourself and you don't want to have to adapt to anyone else, you don't want to have that level of sharing and compromise, you just kind of want that person to fit into your life, that's worse than work. Do you know what I mean? Because you'll be banging your head up against a wall until it stops working anymore. So just the idea that, what you have to do in order to have a relationship, that it's too much work, or evaluating it as something that, it's all stuff that I don't want to have to do. That's a belief. That's a negative belief that keeps you stuck in a place of, okay, if you don't want to have to do it, then you don't really want a relationship. They say, oh, but no, I do. I just don't want to have to do everything you have to do in order to have a relationship. I don't want to have to do all the work. And so, yeah, as long as I think that what a relationship is work, then I'm just going to stand in it's like a catch-22.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I love you. Now change.
Right? Exactly. Now be everything I want you to be always and forever. And
But
don't
how dare
ever,
you ask me to take out the trash on?
right?
How dare you?
Right. Like, and don't ever veer from whatever it is that I've decided you need to be for me. Because as soon as you veer away from that, then I'm going to have problems with you. And that's how we get stuck. And then another one that I get a lot is no one will ever really love me. Like I get that a lot from my single people. Right? That no one will ever love me. Like that deep-seated belief that that's what's deep down inside. Even though I want to date, I want to find that person, I want to look for that person, deep down inside, I don't really believe that it's possible for me, that I'm different somehow than other people. So these are just a few. And those of you who are listening, like just think about, what are some similar themes, some things you've been telling yourself, whether or not you're in a relationship, that if you're feeling stuck, that might be informing your feeling stuck, right? This is just a small percentage of all the possible thoughts and themes that we operate under, the possible beliefs. And basically, it all comes down to a belief that relating is too much, or in other words, that we're not enough. It's just a belief that we are not enough. So how do we turn on the tap? Turn on the tap and be enough and begin to flow. Allow ourselves to flow like water. What does water do? It maneuvers around, up and over things. It fills vessels and it morphs into their shape. It goes quickly to where there is no resistance. It flows, right?
That's nice.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. And you might be at home, you might be saying, well, as for Candy, I'm pretty flexible and easygoing. I let life happen. I just still don't feel fulfilled in my love life, though. And here's where we acknowledge that intention and action don't always line up. So
Right.
I may mean to be flexible and flowing, but if I feel like I'm up against a wall or I'm stuck or like I don't have what I want, whether I'm in a relationship or not, if I'm saying it's not what I want and I feel like I'm stuck there, my results are indicating otherwise. They are indicating that I am not flowing, that I am not in the flow. I'm not being like water. I don't know if you guys can hear the German Shepherd whining in the back. He's not flowing right now. The German Shepherd is whining in the background because he's, I don't know. He's like, I'm not in the mood to flow. He wants to resist a little bit. But yeah, oftentimes we kid ourselves into thinking, oh, because I'm an easygoing person and I'm flexible about, being around other people, being with other people, that, that I should have what I want. But if you don't, it's not anything to make you wrong or to make you feel bad. It's just a true indication that the whatever your outcome is, whatever your results are, they are indicating that no, you're not in the flow of life. You're not allowing yourself to flow. But here's the miracle. Are you ready for the miracle, Brian?
I'm ready for the miracle.
If you ever wonder if your mind is playing tricks on you by blocking your flow without your consent, just ask your body. So,
Ooh, that's good.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you get wrong. Like it's just about tapping into your body. Like if I say to myself, but I'm doing everything that I should be doing. I am flowing. I am flexible. I know that I'm just trying to take it as easy as possible. I'm willing to go out on dates. I'm willing to do things for my partner. I'm willing to, whatever it is you feel like you're calling flow and flexibility, but I still just don't feel like it's where I want it to be or what I want it to be. And you want to find out where the issue is, check in with your body, because your body is the physical expression of all that gets blocked up in your heart and your mind. So the way it does that is with pain and dis-ease and stiffness and stress symptoms.
That ain't that government cheese.
That ain't that government cheese, honey. We talking about Vita. But that's what your body does. Your body materializes and expresses what is going on with your beliefs and where you are stuck and where you are stopped. So here's the miracle, and here's an easy way to utilize that to your benefit. Because then you think, then every time I worry, I'm going to get a headache. And every time I'm upset, I'm going to get a stomach ache. But here's the beauty of all of that is that your body, what the brain does is it tries to protect us. It tries to have us survive. So it gives us, little issues. It triggers certain things so that we will be alerted to either what we need to give some love and nurturing to, what we need to let go of, what we need to release, all that good stuff. And so rather than trying to identify whether you have emotional blocks, because identifying emotional blocks can be challenging even when you have a therapist, but it's, recommended to do it with a therapist. But rather than trying to identify those emotional blocks, and especially if you're doing this on your own, go straight to your body. And here are the questions. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to do the questions until after we take a commercial break.
All right.
Right? I'm going to cliffhang you a little bit. What do you think about that, Brian? We'll take a little commercial break.
Yeah, we'll take a little break, and then so we'll have them stick around for the good stuff.
Yeah, with the questions to ask your body to find out if you really do flow like water.
Have you ever asked the question, if I was to be anything, what would I be? Regardless of money, regardless of status, beyond popularity and fame, living your passion, feeling your life has purpose. Solivity is a space to nurture that which lives in all of us. A place where work can become play, and doing what we love creates the dreams of a lifetime.
All right, so we're back with the questions to be asking yourselves to utilize your body to identify whether you're having some blocks to your flow. Because like I said before the break, your body will let you know if you tap into it. You don't have to go into some sort of emotional deep dive if that's not your thing. Sometimes people don't feel so comfortable with that. And if you're working on it on your own, like listen to your body. So I came up with some different things to ask yourself and to send you into some self-reflection with your body and to go somatic with it of the body and check, just do a check, do your own diagnostic. Your body will always tell you. So for the women, number one, the question is, do I have a healthy and consistent menstrual flow? If I am of an age to have a menstrual flow, and if not, why not? So, for some women, of course, it could be like fibroids and endometriosis, hormonal problems, and even those issues can lead to a deeper understanding of what beliefs may be causing them in your body. See, all the stuff that happens in our body are, it starts with a belief. It starts with a thought. It starts with something that we are fearful of, maybe possibly a trauma, something that we want to protect ourselves or someone else from. They start as seeds of belief, and without the healing, they get expressed physically, right? So of course, if you don't have a healthy, consistent menstrual flow, you got to see a doctor and all of that stuff. I'm not saying that to do this in place of any sort of, medical attention, clinical attention, But what I'm saying is that use what's going on in your body to help clear any of the emotional blocks so that you can flow. And see, menstrual flow. Everything that I talk about is going to have to do with flow, because when you don't have flow, when things are stuck in places mentally, they show up in your body as well. So I know even some women who are in their 40s, 50, some who have gone through menopause, who have a sense of shame and denial around their period. Things like that, like growing up with that sense of shame, feeling like it's dirty somehow, having a resistance mindset when it comes to your period, your flow, all of that stuff can block the health of your flow. And all of those beliefs also inform how we show up emotionally in different spaces. And so only you know whether that's part of what, is affecting your stuckedness if you're feeling stuck, but be willing to ask yourself that question. Because if I'm having issues with something and I'm not having what I want, and I have some beliefs around control or some beliefs that have to do with shame, sexual shame, things like that, they can very much affect my menstrual flow. So ask that question. And if you've ever read Louise Hay, she wrote a great book called You Can Heal Your Life. She says that when we have problems when it comes to our menstrual flow, it has to do with thoughts and beliefs around guilt or feeling dirty or denial of the self and feminine aspects within the self. So these things definitely, that show up in our body, they point to the emotional places. They point to the stuff that needs to be healed. And I know you might be saying, but Candy, I don't want to point to that stuff. I've been avoiding that stuff, but that's why it's showing up in your body, right? It's showing up because it's been avoided. So first, that's the first question to ask. Brian, if you have anything, I'll allow you to chime in. I know men aren't that comfortable with talking about this sort of thing.
Well, as a married man, but I
Uh-huh.
think men should actually pay attention to it.
Right?
If you're going to be in a relationship specifically in a heterosexual relationship, you need to know and pay attention to what's happening with your mate
Yeah.
around that. And so if you're
100%.
dating somebody or that kind of deal, men need to be more aware of that. They need to be more
Aware, and
aware
also I feel like the
and
taboo needs to
supportive.
be taken out of it.
Yeah, it's just a bodily function. I mean, God,
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. It's a bodily function that's a really, really important one. And when we love and embrace it, and I know for a lot of women who have difficult menstrual flow, it's like love and embrace it. It's like F you, like this is this is painful and it sucks. But that, I mean, like when we have that framing of it, and it's like which came first, the chicken or the egg, the cramps or the feeling that the period sucks. When we
Right.
have a framing that my period is going to suck, it's a horrible thing, I don't want to have it, I feel guilty, I feel dirty, I'm in denial of it, I want to hide it, I want to pretend like it's not there, then our body responds to that. And that is a framework of belief about who we are. And that's part of the act of self-love, is being able to accept that this is part of how my body functions. And when it's functioning well, it's a sign that I'm healthy and fertile, or doing well, or being able to flow.
Yeah, just want to reiterate something that you said earlier, because I just don't want people to take anything that we're saying the wrong way.
Sure.
If you are suffering from any physical distress, please see a physician.
Yes.
Or if it is severe, I mean, like you can't move, please dial 911. This is in America, because I know we go out across globally, but here in America, dial 911. Or if you're in another country where they have emergency services, please contact them. Don't just sit there and try to suffer through, because it could be something serious. So we just want to
Yes.
make sure that we state that as well.
Yes. No, thank you for that. 100%. Like, this is not in any way medical advice. This is how can I use what happens to me medically to be able to heal whatever thoughts and beliefs might have led me down this road. 100%.
Absolutely.
If you have any issues, you absolutely have to see a doctor, and make sure, like, no self-diagnosing or anything like that. You definitely want to see a
Let the
clinician.
professionals figure out what's going on. And to your point, because I've gone through this myself in terms of just medical things. They always represent something that is going on with you at a psychological level. There's
Yes,
something that's happening with you. This
definitely.
is not like COVID or anything like that where you contract a virus and that kind of deal. We're talking about, internal stress
Yeah.
that creates dis-ease.
And how it shows up in
Mhm.
your body.
Love that one. Love that one.
Yeah, yeah. All right, number 2. This one's for everybody. You got to be willing to ask yourself, do I poop daily? And healthfully? Do I poop daily and healthfully? And whatever resources you need to find out if how you're going is a healthy go. And I would say ask your doctor what would be the healthiest go and what a healthy go is supposed to look like. If I'm not, why not? So a doctor can tell you the medical reasons why you're not, but you can use those medical reasons to get really clear about what's going on with you, that part of your body is speaking to you, is letting you know, like there's a belief and now there's something wrong, and this is maybe something you want to look at about your beliefs. And here's the thing, this is like quantum physics stuff. This is like, I don't know if you've ever heard of right? The project with the water. It's from
Oh
that
yeah.
movie, What the Bleep Do We Know?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
where
yeah.
the Japanese scientist, he labeled water with negative words, and he labeled water with positive words, and the one he labeled with the positive words, it did a beautiful crystallization. Like when he looked at it under the microscope, all the molecules had like a beautiful crystallization forming. And the ones that he labeled with negative words, they had, they were misshapen, and the water went bad quicker. It's a great movie. It's called What the Bleep Do We Know? But that was just a very simple representation of how our beliefs and our thoughts, and our body is mostly made up of water, right?
Absolutely.
Our beliefs and our thoughts are an energy field, and they do cause I'm not saying this to say that the sicknesses aren't real. They're very real. The body does manifest them. They're very much real and very much need to be treated if they're there. But know that they are letting you know something that's going on in your mind that is keeping you stuck wherever you're stuck. And if it's constipation, that's definitely, a good indication that there's something else that you're holding on to, that you're like, I'm not letting this thing go.
Again, you're not holding on a box of government cheese.
No. Or maybe you are.
Or maybe you are, just emotionally speaking.
Maybe you ate a whole one because you were in an emotional fit, and now it's stuck. Like there's always a through line, right?
Exactly. And at that point, you probably do need to dial 911.
If you ate a whole block of government cheese. And like Louise Hay says, refusing to release old ideas. So, it's a release thing. And that's not to say if you are constipated, just figure out the release, see your doctor, but also think about, what am I holding on to emotionally? What am I stuck with? What am I like, what have I dug my foot in about and I won't let go? Because that's what it's about. And it might be an ongoing thing. I know a lot of people, and also too, I think with the pooping, there's a lot of shame around pooping too. People are so ashamed that they poop, especially women. And I have a lot of female friends where it's almost like a shame thing. Where they almost don't do it. Like, I have a friend who's like, I only do it every few days. And, it's like the worst thing that could possibly happen to her. So those kinds of frameworks of beliefs, they're pointing to something that's deeper, where I'm saying that something about me is not okay, and I'm not letting it be okay, and I'm not allowing things to flow. And I'm going to keep using that word flow because all of these things point to flow. Digestion. Another question, does everything I eat digest and process through my body in a way that fuels and energizes me? And if not, why not? I want to ask myself that, because if I'm having a lot of problems with my digestion, not only should I see my doctor, but there's something going on with, am I choosing food because I'm stress eating or stuffing down pain? Is there a larger sickness that's at work because there's something going on in my body that I'm that's making me very stressed, that's making me very worried? Are there ideas that I haven't digested? Am I worried I'm not letting life pass through me? Yeah.
That's another good one.
right? You got to be willing to just ask yourself these things, because when we ask ourselves, we answer ourselves. But a lot of times we
Yeah.
don't ask ourselves because we're afraid of what the answer might be, or we're afraid that we might have to deal with things that we've been avoiding dealing with. But it's the avoidance that has these things turn into what they turn into. Right. So number 4, and I hate our hour goes by so fast. We're already like number
I know.
4, right? Sweating. Right. The question to ask around sweating, the pause after sweating. Sweating.
I know, sweating. That's it. That's it. Just
That's it. Just sweating. So Berkeley, do I have some kind of sweat disorder? Like even that, having some kind of sweating disorder, something with the skin, obviously it's not something you're not wishing it on yourself, but there is some thought or belief that has your body expressing itself in this way. So whether it's that I don't sweat or I sweat profusely, what are some of my beliefs around sweating? What are some of my beliefs around, there's so many possibilities. Like, do I make it a point to cause my body to sweat on a regular basis, which is something that our bodies need? And if I'm not doing that, why don't I do that? What am I telling myself about things like exercise and my own abilities? If I do have some sort of sweating malfunction, what's going on with my beliefs? Am I trying to keep people away from me? Am I, trying to prevent embarrassment? Like, all these things are indicators of emotional stuff that we could be healing. And healing this emotional stuff is a good companion to whatever healing needs to happen medically as well. So if I'm someone who, is dealing with cancer treatments and, I'm trying to get through a round of chemo, my mindset around, especially depending on where cancer might be in my body, my mindset is going to help produce the energetic field that will help heal those cancer cells. I'm not saying don't do medicine. I'm not saying anything radical, like don't do the chemo, but in companionship, holistically, with anything else that I'm doing medically, being able to actually get to what beliefs might be causing that sickness, causing that cancer, causing that eating away, causing that lack of flow, whatever's going on in your body, that's going to be a great companion to whatever you're doing medically to have it be effective, right? So we don't want to be afraid of these things.
Right.
Right. We don't want to be afraid of listening to ourselves and actually wondering why it's there, and just be in the place of just get rid of it, just get rid of it, just get rid of it. You want to be like, okay, so what is this telling me? What do I need to know? And that's part of flow as well. Like, what are you saying to me, my body? So then the last one is, what are you laughing about, Brian?
You kind of pause. I'm kind of like, okay, why is she pausing?
Because sometimes I feel like I fire hose people with stuff a little bit, and I also know that this can lean to sort of the radical thinking of, because I am very much a follower of science and believer in science. Like, I don't want to be, I'm not anti-science. Sometimes I don't necessarily trust Western medicine and the thinking behind how Western medicine works, right?
Yeah.
But I know that it can be a controversial conversation, because there's a lot of people out there who say zero medicine and it's all thought. And,
and that's just not the case.
Yeah, that's not the case. Sometimes we do need the assistance of, clearly we need the assistance of doctors' knowledgeability, but, of outside assistance, like whatever. I'm not a clinician. Sometimes we do need those things. Oftentimes we do need those things. But, what we're talking about here is how when we're willing to heal and talk about our beliefs and get into those emotions, and not let them rule and not be so subscribed to them, they don't have as much power over our body.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, when we subscribe to these beliefs in a way that, they're unchangeable, and, there's no movement, there's no flow in them, then they show up in our body, because it's like our brain's job is to protect us, and it kind of does what we tell it to do. So if we have a belief like, that, I don't know, that the world is out to get us, and that we should be fearful, and that we should walk in fear. When we walk around walking in fear, the brain is going to do what it needs to do in order to protect us, because the brain is going to think, I'm walking around in fear. So what do I need to put in place? Do I need
about
to
fight or flight?
Fight or flight? Do I need to make you so sick that you're always in a hospital bed? Do I need to, that's what the brain does on its own. Like we're not cognitive of it. Do I need to, put your body in some sort of position where people will be more attentive to you? And that can show up in a lot of ways, like dementia, things like that. Do I need to make something wrong with you so that, it will fix a situation? It happens a lot with kids. Kids get like eczema and rashes and stuff. And a lot of times that's when they're in situations where they emotionally feel like they're out of power. Like, I need more attention. So like rashes and things like that might show up. It's all very real. But I believe that the brain really has a strong effect over this stuff. Anyway, that's why I paused.
I got you.
So
we're ready.
Okay, so number 5, sexual functioning. The question to ask myself, are all of my parts working consistently? And do I have a healthy desire for sex that is normal and feels right for me? And if not, why not? So obviously there are physical things that cause sexual dysfunction. Dr. John Gray talks a lot about hormones and the myths that we're led to believe about inevitability of things like erectile dysfunction and vaginal dryness as we get older and things like that. And he talks about how it's mythical because, first of all, we buy into it. We buy into that, okay, I'm getting older, or I'm going through menopause, or I'm getting older as a man. So, that's what's supposed to happen to my body. And the moment you buy into that, then that's exactly what you're gonna create. But also, it's like it can be psychologically determined by circumstance. So, just to share a little, like I've experienced vaginal dryness because I was in a bad relationship for too long. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no.
And at the time, I didn't know that's what was happening. I mean, I knew I was in a bad relationship, but I didn't associate the two things because I still found him physically attractive. Right. So I didn't associate the fact that I couldn't, like I started having vaginal dryness with the fact that I wasn't feeling emotionally loving about him anymore. And I started to believe different things about him, believe different things about myself. Like your body responds to the things that you think. And as soon as I started to realize that and open up myself to that being the possibility, then I was able to like really pinpoint some things and get clear. Like, nice. Okay. Yeah, like now I can do something about this. Now I can be aware and also be able to admit that I'm in a relationship that's not working. If this is what's going on with me, right?
Right. And just to, chime in before we, because I know that's the last question. We're running out a little bit of time.
Yeah.
This is just some stats for everybody when it comes to quote unquote normal sexual function for people as they get older. The average, not like the best, the average number of times that older people who have a healthy sex life is anywhere between 24 and 48 times a year.
Oh.
So no, they still
they're still doing it.
They're still doing it. So, and this is you can look it up. You can, go online and look at the statistics. But yeah,
I love it.
Yeah. So at the old folks' homes, don't
think
they're just sitting around doing nothing.
Still getting it on.
They let's get it on.
Yeah. And I believe that about vitality and aging and all of that. Like it's a belief in, I have people who I've gone to high school with or even grad school, and somebody posted on a thing one time, like, how are you staying looking so young? Which I thought was a very sweet compliment. And honestly, it's not that I don't ever I do see aging in myself. I do see a difference, but I also don't believe it. Like I don't subscribe to it. Do you know what I mean? Like I subscribe to is vitality. And I think that a lot of those older people who are still having, semi-regular sex and what is a normal level of sex for them is that we don't have to subscribe to, because I'm getting older, this thing can't work anymore, or I have to give up on this thing.
Right.
That, if we believe it, the body will do it.
Right? Exactly.
Yeah. So the brain's job is to make sure that we survive, and it will automatically create issues in our body when it believes that we need to be protected. And oftentimes, the stoppage of flow in our bodies is a sign of something we're refusing to heal or let go of or change our thinking around. And of course, it's important to see a doctor when there's any malfunctioning. And we want to give ourselves the gift of listening to our bodies and letting what they say, letting what our bodies say to us heal our emotions, help us heal our emotions. So if you are love stuck and feeling unfulfilled, check in with your body and find out if it's trying to indicate a belief that's not working. Also, you can check out that book, You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay. I'm not recommending it as a replacement for medical advice, but a way to accompany your healing methods by starting with your beliefs and your emotions. And that's that.
Woo-hoo.
Right?
Yeah. No more love struck. Stuck.
There's no.
You see how I caught myself there?
We're not love stuck no more. But yeah, you know, and it all comes down to the same thing that I always talk about, that willingness to just get in your self-awareness, ask yourself questions, and be flat with it. Like, we need to stop hiding and shaming ourselves and being ashamed and, you know, running away from, you know, what is so, and also wanting to hold on to our beliefs so strongly that we refuse to see when we're standing in our own way. And can we do a quick matchmaker moment? Do we have time?
Of course we have time. Let's do the matchmaker moment. All right, back to you.
All right. So I have a lovely lady in the DC area, very much a social justice warrior and a fighter for equal rights, smart, sweet, with an easy smile and an hourglass figure. She is 44, a mother of 2. She's divorced, which is one of my favorite clients in that she is not race fixated. Sometimes people are very race fixated with the people that they date, and she cares about community issues. Like, she's very much a lover of community and wanting us all to rise and wanting us all to be better and have better and live better. And if you're someone who loves to focus on solutions to the disparities and problems plaguing our world, she might be perfect for you because she's very solution oriented. And yeah, if you know someone or you are someone who might be a great match for her, you can email me at askforcandypodcast@gmail.com and say, I want to be matched. Yeah.
Wow.
Right?
Hello.
She's a good one. She's a good one for the men who like, you know, she's not heavy. Like, I don't want to call her curvy because curvy these days means like, you know, overweight. But she's like small curvy. She's petite curvy.
All right.
Yeah.
Brothers in DC.
Right?
Better reach out.
Reach out.
Do that email.
Yeah.
Don't miss out.
So I guess now we got to wrap it up. So you guys know, very quickly, every Monday I do the Epic Circle. If you're a woman interested in doing joining our healing circle, we are on collective number 2. Your first class is an orientation class and it's free. So find us on Meetup, the Epic Circle. Thank you so much to Solivity Magazine, Passion, Purpose, Living, my Brian.
Oh, thank you, honey. It's always good with you.
Always a pleasure, always fantastic. And you can find us on Instagram at Ask for Candy Podcast, at Candy Love Coach, at Solivity Magazine. And that is it.
Woo!
That is it. Until next time, never forget you are a love machine. If you ever start to feel like you aren't getting the love you need, just make more and then ask for candy.
Watch Ask for Candy with Candice Harper every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Solivity Magazine brings you the best in inspiration on Solivity TV. Check out our new shows. Mark your calendars for Solivity Magazine shows by going to solivity.com now.